Has anyone seen Hole in the Wall TV show?
Yes.
Is that the greatest?
I want to see
It's
that.
the best thing I've ever seen.
I know.
It is very cool.
We got to get on that show.
We
I got to get on that show. Oh, come on. Oh, it's the dream. This is the beginning of the dream. I get to live my dream of being on Hole in the Wall.
Hold on, wait. Try and do this and maintain your dignity. I think that's the challenge.
I've got the lab on. How expensive is the lavalier?
Hold on. I can't let you do this alone.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Let's see if we can do this. 1, 2, 3. Andrew Bordwin.
Adam Ames, type A.
And we are doing a project that has a couple parts to it. One part is working with a group here at the IMA, and that part we're calling team building. And there's a sculptural component that at the moment is called tension.
We'd always had ideas of team building kind of in the back of our heads from a couple years ago, just had always been interested in it. And then when we were here, something kind of clicked, and it just made us feel like we should at least explore it and see what we could do with it. And we were fascinated with things like the tower and ropes courses. And things that would be just the kind of the physical elements. And as we learned about it, we learned that there was this, the experiential education part of it, which involves a lot of games and initiatives, debriefing, use of metaphors for reflection and all these things. And it started to tie in very much with our philosophy of art making. And we'd kind of been looking for things that would make art have a more direct relation to the experience.
The connection between our work and between experiential education as a medium, which, choosing that as a medium is sort of an unusual decision, but we, for lack of a better term, using it as a medium, the connection is, as Adam said, it's a very direct, we want art to be a direct experience, and experiential education is all about having that, it's all about doing rather than seeing.
We should say this is for the 100 Acres Art and Nature Park. So we've been commissioned for the inaugural show.
It's a long list.
I mean, there's just so many different things that happen at any given moment that are that make people laugh, that are funny, because a lot of the experiential education and team building revolves around play and revolves around adults doing things that maybe they wouldn't have planned on earlier that morning.
Letting go.
Sending it over, so I'm going to send it over to Adam. Yeehaw!
Yeah,
What's he going to do with it?
I
What are you going to do with it?
I
Send it
forgot.
over. You can send it to him, you can send it back to me.
Yeehaw!
Letting go.
Yeehaw!
Really.
Yeah, and I mean, I know when we were being trained, we would, really, there's no shortage of things that made us look foolish and made us laugh as a result, and then that allowed it to kind of open up and have more fun with the people that were in the group.
What's happened a lot is that we've set up situations. It's sort of a model for art making in general, where you set up a mechanism and then you kind of hit start, whatever that means in a particular circumstance for the piece, and see what happens. And the same is true with this project, where we set up rules, as we've often done in our work for years. We'll set up rules, we'll set up a sort of a territory in which something's going to happen, and we say, okay, go, and you see what happens. And I guess the overriding, notable moments that keep happening are all about watching people from all different departments, all different walks of life, and all different sort of disciplines within this museum being equalized, sort of leveled out, and behaving like fourth graders, and letting down their guard, and having a good time and laughing with each other, and having that be a basis for having that set the tone. A lot of the discussions that we've had, in fact, all the discussions that we've had, which we have to say have always taken us by surprise with their intensity and how productive they are, have happened after we've gone through some of these exercises and people have basically behaved like complete fools for a couple hours, then the talking starts to happen. That's when people sit down as a group and actually really start to get at the meat of the project.
And I'll just say one more thing. There might be this common conception of, there's like funny things happen. So-and-so went up, on the ladder, their underwear got caught hanging, wedgie for 10 minutes and we're all laughing. But that doesn't really happen. And the things that are funny
It's never too late.
are really, like, it's just they're built in, they're contextual. Like, someone who might not be as outgoing as you might expect might just come out and say something that just maybe shocks people or just kind of surprises people, and there's a lot of laughter, and that becomes memorable. But like a lot of things, like a lot of art, you can't really explain it. You can't go out and say, hey, I saw this painting, I saw this picture, and it was, it moved me, and let me explain it to you. So, we're having these experiences. They don't translate so much to stories that often.
Catchy name. I mean, both our names start with the letter A. In his case, he's both.
Yeah, but that was just a byproduct. We started working together about 10 years ago, and the first thing we did was this piece called Dance, and it was based on a high school wrestling experience that I had. And when we did it, it just, very physical. We basically wrestled each other. And from there, we kind of inspired to do more video and to kind of keep things moving. The next thing we focused on were these competitions in a piece called Four Urban Contests, both single-channel videos. And by that point, we just realized we're kind of getting into this male competition thing. And someone, my wife, our wife-to-be at that point, dubbed us Type A. And we thought, well, great, it's this third thing. It's a name, it's not him, it's not me, and it's this third thing, and let's see what kind of life this third thing has. And the alpha-male connection was very appropriate at that time. And since then, I mean, it's still around. I mean, we're still dealing with competition, we're still dealing with ideas of aggression, of conflict, but we're also, we've opened it up to deal with issues of collaboration, issues of intimacy, just, other facets of relationships that are,
that aren't based in aggression necessarily. And aggression is always going to be an energy that we're interested in exploring and we're interested in using, and it has a place. It always has a place.
Well, you know what? The aggressive stuff from the beginning had an intimacy to it. And if you look at Dance, there's and then if you look at the stuff we did later, we had stuff that you could say is more intimate, but there's also an aggression and
in fact,
intimacy.
that's really where when that combination happens is where it starts to resonate the most for us. We picked with our practice, the idea leads the way, and I guess it's kind of a classic conceptual strategy where the idea is the foundation and the medium is dictated by the idea. The medium comes second. In the case of the project we're doing here, in some ways the medium disappears altogether, which is something that we're intrigued by and is a bit of a leap for us. But we use whatever makes sense. If something requires movement and time, then video is called for. If something requires sort of, photography can do things that video can't do, and certainly video can do things that photography can't do. And in addition, drawing can do things that neither of them can do. And the medium, when the idea presents itself, when the idea starts to get fleshed out, it asks for something, and our job is to respond to that and to pick the medium that makes the most sense. Well, first, I mean, people should be drawn in, and in a real basic way, entertained. I think that, we think that entertainment does not mean a shallow experience. Entertainment can be the beginning of a deeper experience, and we've always used humor as an entree, as sort of a means to get people interested in our work, and then maybe look a little deeper and see what's under the surface and the meaning that we're really trying to get at. So as a strategy, humor has always been a part of what we do and continues to be an element, but that first reaction should be attraction.
Accessibility, something that doesn't put off. And basically we're now searching for an experience that, here at the IMA, this is really about experience first and foremost, where the team building element, we want the people who are part of the team to go home and say, well, I hadn't done that before, You know, in a sense, art let me do something that I've never experienced before, I didn't think I would experience. It's going to be, you know, a little odd when this winds down to go back to kind of producing objects, or at least that's was the idea. Well, we do this, and then we go back and we have the studio practice and all of that. I'm not sure it's going to stay. I'm not sure that's going to happen. I think we're going to keep pushing this idea of giving a more direct experience, and also just involving ourselves in that experience, because we've grown so much from this just by being a part of it, and being, you know, we're in a sense pushing and challenging people, but it's coming right back, you know, on us, and we're loving it. We're finding out new things and new ways of thinking about, well, new ways of thinking about new things, but also new ways about thinking about old things.
What are we looking at? Hole in the wall, I think, at this point. It's humbling, deeply humbling experience.
You want to talk about
that.
performance art.
We
Hole
thought we
in the
did
wall.
something substantial yesterday, and we went back to the hotel and saw that and realized we're just wasting our time.
It's true. Over the course of what we do, we just pick up things here and there. A lot, I'd say, it's always been a combination of music, film, and sketch comedy, and not so much art. The art kind of seeps in. I mean, we know about art, history, all that stuff, but it's not like, hey, we have to come up with a new idea. Let's go to Jansen and read and find out something.
The art that we end up seeing very often ends up being more like an encouragement in mid-stroke, sort of right in the middle of the process. Like, for instance, I was just in Berlin, and I went to Kunstwerk and saw a whole series of Richard Serra films, or early Serra films I hadn't seen before, and saw them. I'm so dragging him to see these, and not dragging, but we're going to go watch these because he has to see them, and I'd never seen them before. But it wasn't sort of an initial point of inspiration. It's just a sort of a confirmation. Excuse me. It's almost, what's the word I'm looking for? It's almost like a validation. A lot of the times that we find work that feels connected to what we do. It's not a beginning point. It's more sort of it just pushes us along and keeps us interested and realizes, okay, well, this guy was doing things in the mid-'70s that are directly related to what we do and so on target with what we're interested in. That's amazing to see, and it's just a big yes. It's a big confirmation of what we're already interested in.
This year.
I give the stock response. I don't watch movies. I have children. I never get up.
You don't watch movies?
I watch once in a while.
Best movie I've seen all year.
I would say, and this didn't come out this year, but I saw it this year. I think I saw it this year for the first time. Was Lives of Others, which I thought was amazing.
What's that?
I mean, Lives of Others. If I had to think of one that I saw recently that really, blew me away, I would say that would be it. I liked Iron Man too, a lot. All that gadgetry. I want the whole thing with the thing and the three-dimensional, but can't have that.
Let's see, something I saw. I just saw something recently that, I don't know if I'd call it the best movie I've seen. Yeah, well, The Mist. I saw this movie called The Mist, which was pretty devastating. Very kind of, very intense and somewhat manipulative horror kind of allegory based on a Stephen King book or novella that it kind of destroyed me. It was pretty intense and very bleak. I kind of like the bleak. Don't ever say that.
I think I'd either be an archaeologist or a linguist. I like those two things.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I got nothing. I can't think of doing anything other. I'm not skilled. I got no other skills. If drink, yeah. Well, bartender, drink.
One, two, three. Did I make it?
Oh. You can't put this on. You can't put this on. What? Have a minute? You can't put this on the frickin' YouTube. On the frickin' YouTube.
Oh, in the mother.